Mike and Freddie are still down in Atlanta at SEC Media Days. Yesterday's was Kentucky's day at the podium, and I know you guys have lots of reactions, so let's get right to it. Whoever wants to go first, what stood out with you from the Wildcats yesterday?
Well, we didn't receive any clarity on the Chris Rodriguez situation. I know a lot of folks were looking forward to knowing what's going to be in Chris's future. We still don't know, and we're going to have to wait a little bit longer, probably till game week. But all in all, yesterday it was kind of the Will Levis day, Freddie. And Mark Stoops, he's not worried about the media either getting to him, whether it's criticism or whether it's getting to his head because it's too much praise. Because Levis he's self-motivated to improve. Yeah. He's driven. Stoops has said, there's guys, Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, those guys, they didn't need anybody to tell them to work hard. Will is the exact same way. He's learned a lot this offseason. He's learned from the Mannings this offseason. And, a lot of what he's trying to improve is not only his footwork, but also his decision-making. The highlight tape he watches, it's not of him jumping over that dude from Louisville or running over that guy from Missouri. It's all of his worst plays. He watches them on repeat to figure out what he's doing wrong and how he needs to improve in 2022.
Yeah, he's also watching film of Syracuse because that's probably who Kentucky will play in the national championship game. Hey, Drew, I'm wearing team gear today. Think I'll get booted? Will I get booted out of the thing?
Oh, no, not at all. That's the KSR way. We try not to in the press box too often, but at media day, let those colors fly.
Yeah. I've gotten a few stares and glares this morning. But, yeah, Will Levis was born for this. I made the Syracuse reference because of last night's podcast. Nick got on a rant about Syracuse ACC Media Days. Did you know that was going on, Drew? That's kind of cute. I didn't.
Yeah, nobody else knew either.
Yeah. But no, I think Will Levis is built for this. He's built for the spotlight. He can handle attention. He's proven that. And he's a team guy. While Nick focused on Levis, I was able to interview Kenneth Horsey and DeAndre Square. Really enjoyed that. I talked to him for a while. I actually got a little emotional when they smiled when we made the exchange. So just grown men that do things the right way.
They're kind of like coaches.
And represent the program well. So Kentucky, if you're wondering back home, Kentucky did really well yesterday. Represented the school and the state really good. And looking forward to finishing this thing up and get ready.
As you all are down there in Atlanta, getting back to Atlanta seems to be a pretty big topic among the players. It's pretty clear that that's the goal, and they're not shy of admitting that.
What I love too, Drew, is that used to be something that they'd make fun of Kentucky about. But no, they break every single huddle, ATL, Atlanta on 3, because that's the goal. The goal is to get back here. Stoops is like, we don't need to let it linger a lot. We know we've got work to do. We're going to focus on the process. Well, the process is staying in Atlanta every single day. They want to get back in that stadium because they need to show Freddie Maggard. They know that Freddie needs to see that venue, and he's not going without it.
I didn't go, Drew. I've not talked to you, I don't think. Have we talked to Drew since?
Maybe, yeah. It all runs together down here.
I read in your diary, those have been a hit. I read that you skipped it, so I haven't talked to you, but I did read that.
Yeah, no, I didn't go, and I won't go until Kentucky plays there. So I think it's a realistic goal for Kentucky.
Yep.
But I'll keep saying it. For Georgia to matter in November, Kentucky has to beat Florida in September.
Well, and that's like Stoops did the same thing last year. You got to focus on what's in front of you, and that's the kind of boring, coachy stuff that we get from Stoops.
It's true,
but it is. But the good thing is that all of those players, they know that's the goal, and that's an actual tangible. They're close. They've been knocking on that door. They've been second these time and time and time again. Now, if you take care of business early on, the big games can happen. And who knows? We might even have Lee Corso throwing on a headset in Lexington in November.
You all have talked plenty and written plenty and podcasted plenty about what everyone's been saying and the major storylines. But for guys like Square and Horsey, who aren't normally the face of the program, did you just feel their excitement of being there and getting to be the guy in the suit that flew in the jet down? Levis has gotten a taste of that. Of course, Stoops has been there several years, but those guys, this is pretty unique to them.
I did, Drew, and I thought it was special for both of them because they both had unique stories about Kenneth Horsey about John Schlarman, and that was emotional. DeAndre
he also had open heart surgery.
Yeah.
Just real casual.
DeAndre Square, his discussion about Chris Oates,
I
thought were special.
He got emotional, and And afterwards, you know, he was a little choked up. But
Yeah.
once the media, you know, the cameras were off, I was chatting with him, and we were talking about Missouri. He's like, you know, I think it's a fun game. We always have fun down there. And he's like, I remember my freshman year, me and Chris were on the sidelines on that final drive, and we're holding hands because we're so nervous and just don't like they wanted to couldn't watch what was happening. And he's like, Chris wanted to watch the last play, and I told him you can't jinx it. They didn't know who won until they heard the roar, opened their eyes, and the team was running onto the field. And that story just brings it back home and just shows how close these guys are. And to see Chris make those steps forward like he did the other day, it means a lot to Square. It means a lot to this team, to this program, and we just forget about all this stuff. You know, whether you're watching from afar or you're in the media, it's not just another story. This is real life stuff that means a lot to these people.
Well, you all will be heading home soon after a long week. I know you're going to hear from Tennessee today. It's probably the last time we'll check in with you. So before you go, whether it's Kentucky related or Marty and McGee related, let's just hear some of your favorite memories from this week in SEC Media Days 2022.
Morgan & Morgan. Thank you, Morgan & Morgan, for sponsoring my trip to SEC Media Days, for the partnership. We enjoy you. Pound Law says it all.
Yep, they're for the people.
And they're you can see them on Twitter and social media. It's for the people. So
forthepeople.com.
forthepeople.com.
They don't get paid unless you get paid. I really enjoyed watching the radio guy get asked to leave the bar last night. The hotel bar got a little crazy at SEC Media Days. Yeah, it got a little lit, as the kids might say. We also had a real awkward thing too, where at dinner it was sponsored by the Peach Bowl people, and they were showing old Peach Bowls. And one of the great ones was Johnny Football versus Duke back in like 2014 on New Year's Eve. I remember watching it at the OG Two Keys back in the day, and it's this huge comeback where Duke just completely falls apart. And who is in attendance at this event while this is being shown on the TVs? None other than former Duke coach David Cutcliffe, who's now the assistant to the regional manager for Greg Sankey here in the Southeastern Conference. So the final day had some eventful festivities. Freddie, how many did we get up to the Atlanta Speed Bump with?
Still at 7.
Still at 7. Yeah. I actually had somebody tell me
zero yesterday.
Well, there was one where we weren't around. We missed it. He told me he hit it, even though in his mind he knew to watch out for it. It still got him. It'll come up and bite you.
It's a rather low count. The Hoover Lamp was much higher.
Yeah, much higher.
But yes, it's 7. My highlight was Marty McGee.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just gonna go ahead and say it again.
Yeah.
And then after, I took a picture with him and talked to him. I guess the first day or second day. Every time I've seen them, they've been like, "Hey, what's up?"
Yeah.
They're just
your best friends now.
Well, not best friends, but talking heads are normally just empty suits.
Mm-hmm.
Those two are just nice guys.
Yeah.
I mean, just nice people. And that was my highlight. But I mean, kind of joking, but not. The real highlight for me, Drew, was spending about 15 minutes with Coach Claiborne. I pulled up a chair next to his display and, had a little talk. It was a one-way discussion, obviously, but I needed to do that. It was something that's been building up with me for many years since he passed, 20 years almost. Yeah, almost 20 years. So for me, that was special, just to spend a few minutes with my coach and a man that did so much for me, took a chance on me, and I love him. And that was the most special for me at SEC Media Days.